Hey, got my cup of coffee, and I want to talk about, something that we don't talk about too much. Feeling lonely. Are you feeling lonely? I am too. Of course, it's winter right now, and for me, and along with extreme heat of summer, that kind of takes me to a hibernation. I just don't want to even go out. I'll work on my laptop all day long. I'm fine with that. But the weather isolates me. And I live in an area that has extremes. And I get lonely. You may get lonely for different reasons. But for me, the irony is that I build community as part of my work. I help bring people together to fund nonprofits. That's what I do. So why am I lonely? I don't know. Many things can keep us from being connected, that's for sure. Lots of things. Most of them are in our head, right? Let me know in the comments below what you think keep you from being connected. And how are you feeling right now? I want us to share that, and that's why I created this YouTube channel, was to figure things out as we go along into our fourth quarter. I want to build this community of YouTube so we can chat together, and I want to build other communities so that I don't feel lonely. So join me as I remind myself of some of the best ways to get reconnected and get out of my slump. It's a community slump. I feel pretty good about the amount of work I'm doing and that sort of thing. It's the casual stuff. It's the after hours stuff that I'm having a hard time with. Can I ask you, please, before we really start talking about things, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I hope it becomes a community that you really enjoy seeing the videos pop up and interacting with. I want us to interact. How to kick loneliness's butt. That is our topic of the day. We're gonna, I really wanted to remind myself on making new friends, but also staying in touch. You make a new friend and then that person is suddenly off doing other things and you're like, hey, where'd you go? Where are the fun activities? I need to do more fun activities. When I look for them, I find them, so let's do that. I'm considering a new pet. I don't know about you. Do you have a pet? Let me know. I'm considering it, which would make my children really laugh. And also just a little bit of where can we go get some serious medical help or counseling if that's what we need. I have to ask myself, why does it matter? I do enjoy being alone sometimes. When we're lonely, that's no fun. That's different. When we're alone and we choose to be alone, that's the best, right? We choose to be alone. But when we don't choose to be alone, and that makes us lonely, let's try to do a few things to turn that around. Start with the obvious, family and friends. That's the easiest way to feel connected, is talking to the people you already know, right? Know, and those that love you and forgive you for being dorky. Please. Give them a call. Sometimes I feel like I'm interrupting my children's lives when I call, and they'll immediately hand the phone to their children like, oh, grandma just wants to see the grandkids, which I do. I do want to see the grandkids. I also want to see my kids on FaceTime. I want to see their beautiful smiles. I just want to be goofy with them. Sometimes I send my daughter goofy things I find on the internet, and she does the same to me. I hope I don't overdo it. But sometimes we overdo it. But that's what love is, forgiving each other. But let's plan some regular stuff, not just digitally. Let's reach out and be a little more in person on the family and friends we already have. I also need to find some new crew, right? I've lost friends. Literally, they have died. And sometimes at this time of year, I really miss them. I need to find some new people. I will say, I looked up on Facebook events before I signed in here to talk to you. Found 3 things that I would like to do this week. Now, it's going to be cold in the evenings, so I'm probably going to wuss out on 1 or 2 of them. I hope I don't wuss out on all 3. I need to get out. One is what's called it's a trivia night out at the pub. But the second one is called Science Cafe. A friend of mine who is a teacher, she has her students put this on, and they have speakers, and they have a fun topic each time. This time it's about AI. I think I'll go to Science Cafe. It's at a coffee shop. Always good to just sit around, have a cup of coffee. I haven't seen her in a while either. The third thing is really interesting. Trivia night would be fun too, by the way. It's a cheese tasting at my public library. It's completely free. All 3 of these things are free, by the way. All you got to do is go over to your Facebook, hit your account, your picture, and then in there it says events, and then select this week. You too can find some weird and unusual fun things you might want to do. Different clubs that I saw when I went searching on the internets, where there are garden clubs. I've not belonged to the garden club. I love to go to their plant sale. They have a good plant sale where I live. Exercise classes, always good. And I am looking for a new yoga group to join, and I did find one while I was on there, so I'm going to do that tomorrow morning at 5:30 a.m. I will get up. I have friends who belong to an exercise class that's once a week that is free. So these things, a lot of these things obviously are for different budgets, right? I like to try the free things out because they can take you places. My friends who joined their once a week free class on exercise ended up joining that same group of people over at the our big pool and do wintertime indoor pool exercises. So their free class ended up taking them over to the community center where they pay per class because they met new people. They still go to their free class altogether. So that's really interesting. Helping others helps you. I know that psychologically, the number one way to bring yourself out of yourself, to not feel down, is to help others. And it seems counterintuitive, but it's absolutely how our brains work. And helping others helps you. Now, I help others for pay. I help nonprofits help others. But when you reach out and actually just do that piece of volunteerism, it can really bring you up. I know that my local library has some amazing volunteer opportunities. I know that my food bank really likes extra help. I know many of the schools in our area love to have people help with reading with the kids. And then the animal shelters are really open to having volunteers. So the fourth thing would be hobbies. So, I've always wondered what my hobbies are when I'm asked. I will say that I know that it's a superpower for making friends is to go through your hobbies. Personally, I like to walk, hike, kayak. It's not the right weather for that. I know some people, you let me know. Are you a painter? Do you knit? Do you play cards or board games? I know that my recreation commission, even in my smaller town, really has all of those things that you can join in on. people learn to play instruments and they get together to do that. Gardening. So that's a really great way to get out of your doldrums. My particular hobbies are very outdoorsy. I have hiked in January. My husband and I chose one time to hike every single state park and kept track of it one year, and we did that in January, February, and March. On sunny days where I live, we did get our parkas on. It was a lot of fun, but we made that commitment, and it got my rear end out the door. I am going to try to join a walking group, and I am going to try definitely different yoga classes. I have friends who do chair yoga. If you're not as mobile, perhaps start with chair yoga. I do yoga. I do love yoga. I have another friend who loves dance classes. She has drugged me to dance classes that our university puts on, that they invite the community to come to. There are students there, and then the community is there. She's a far better dancer than I ever was. I took classes. She took more classes and taught. So when she goes to those classes, she's far better at it than I am, and I just feel old and clunky. So that's not really my cup of tea. But I am going to try out this new yoga teacher. If she's not right with me, I had a yoga group and I moved. And that yoga group, the type of yoga that teacher used was just right for me. So I've done a little research on that, and I'm going to talk about that with some different yoga instructors in my area and try to get back into that, because that was my get out of the house. Since I work from my house, it can be really isolating, and I think that's my personal loneliness issue, is isolation. Furry friends, and my kids are going to laugh if they see this, that I'm thinking about getting a pet. I know that it will complicate my life. I don't like piddle puddles in my floor, but they do give a lot. And as we get older, and they also give me a reason to get out of the house and walk, even though it's cold out or even though it's hot out. All of our pets were my children's pets, although I took care of them, right? But we always need to remember to choose a pet that matches our energy level and our living situation. And that has stopped my husband and I from getting a pet after our youngest child left with his pet. If you can't adopt due to where you live, or you're hesitant like I am to actually make that leap, consider going to your local animal shelter and volunteering to play. That is a thing. And when my son lost his pet when he was in middle school, we did that. I signed him up to be a pet player at our play dates at the animal shelter. And once a week, I'd drop him off for a couple hours, and he would just run around and play with the dogs. And if you're a cat person, you can do the same with the cats. And you can basically speed date for a pet, and he did that. I could do that. I might do that. I could go up to the shelter and do some play dates and see if there's one that I might match up with. Or just get my puppy fill when I'm there, right? So I've talked about this in another video, and I'll tag it at the end here. But technology is your friend when you are trying to link up with people. And I did chat about Facebook. Other social media sites are great. LinkedIn is a great place to go back to seeing some people you already know. Maybe they retired and you've retired, or you're thinking of retiring and they've already retired, but they're still on LinkedIn. You can message them and meet up with them for some coffee. Maybe you have Facebook friend that both of you always comment on the same. You're both politically at the same level. You're like-minded in many ways, but you don't really know them in human form. You just know them digitally. Reach out. Send them a message. You might make the new best friend of your life. Professional organizations have retiree membership levels, and they do extra things together that the people who are still working for a living don't do. Some of them have travel opportunities. Some of them just meet up at your conferences. And even though you're not still working, you're able to mentor and help those that are still working. It's really fun. I know of several people. A friend of mine who's a librarian does that. She still helps with her conference, and she enjoys seeing people and mentoring people. And she's very active with their political action committee. So look into your trade associations. Lastly, I'd really like everyone to always remember that help is there for you if you need it on a bigger level. Never be too proud to reach out for mental health support, whether that is counseling with your area agency on aging or other senior services. Every state's a little different, but just Google it. There is transportation services, there is counseling services. If you are not yet that age range, there are also other counseling services available. Don't go without. Reach out if you need help or support. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. I just know that there are these organizations that are there for you. And even if you're not old enough yet and you called your area agency on aging and told them you needed some help, they'd help you find that help. Let your doctor know how you're feeling. Ask for help when you need help. And try new things. For me, it's my loneliness and my down feeling is really about isolation, as I said, but yours may be different. And just try things at your own pace. I'm going to try a few things this week. But remember one thing. You may feel alone, but you are never alone if you let people know what you're going through. So, a real quick recap of what we talked about today. Stay connected. Pick up that phone. Look for an opportunity. Beating loneliness is totally possible. Take a step. Just a 1% change. Don't need to go crazy. Don't get overwhelmed. A 1% change is enough, right? Sometimes to just make you come home after that library event, sit down and smile and say, hey, that really felt good. Don't forget to like videos like this. Give it a like so I know you liked it. Subscribe to the channel so I'll know to make other content. Let me know down below what you'd like to know about, what we can share together. Hit the notification bell if you want. You can share this video with other people. I really want to hear your questions in this community. They are my favorite way to stay connected. I love it when people respond, and I love to say thank you for your comment. I've made videos already. This is a brand new channel, and I'm learning every day. So I don't know if I'm really good enough to keep watching every single time yet, but stay with me. I'll get better. I love hearing from you, and I hope you love hearing from me.